Hello everybody, welcome to That's Football. I'm Mark Goldbridge. The end of the January transfer window is approaching and the question is to spend or not to spend. Arsenal, Chelsea, there are questions to be asked there around Jhon Duran. Could he be heading to either of those football clubs? Should he be heading to either of those football clubs? I think for me, if I can get my words out, I would say that I just don't get it. I don't get it. If we start off with Arsenal, look, I do understand, and the comments are going to be very interesting. If you look at Liverpool, you don't need to spend. Everybody knows the January transfer market, you can do a good deal, but they're not as plentiful as the summer. And Liverpool are doing so well. Why would you bother delving into a contracted, competitive, chaotic window when you can just wait till the summer and plan it out, and you're probably going to win the league and maybe the Champions League as well? But if you're an Arsenal or a Chelsea or a Manchester United or a Manchester City, and we've seen it with Man City already, I mean, Mamouche has gone into Man City and you just look at it and you go, makes sense. A couple of years ago, Enzo Fernandez into Chelsea, it makes sense. Bed them into the Premier League in the last 4 months. They'll be ready for next season. They're good to go now, so why wait till the summer? The deal can be done. But a lot of teams still seem to be quite reluctant to do it. And for the second year in a row, we've seen Arsenal do it. And I just don't get it. I think that Arsenal, I was reading about Arsenal the other day, PSR, FFP, they're compliant. And in fact, I read something that Arsenal might be in a positive PSR situation where they're actually making a profit, which is very rare, certainly around clubs like Manchester United. So Arsenal have the capabilities financially to go and buy a player, especially when you can stagger that fee over a period of time. So I think it's a massive important deal for Arsenal to do. And when you look at the Duran deal, if Chelsea were to do that deal, and David Ornstein's saying around 80 million and Villa will do it, and Villa are interested in João Felix, and Chelsea need a striker, we saw that at the weekend, I do question why Arsenal just won't do it. And is it a reluctance to go into the January market? Is it a tactical issue? I'm not an Arsenal fan. I'm sure most of you aren't, but I'm sure most of Arsenal fans agree. I look at Arsenal for the last 18 months and I think if you put, and I always use the same player, if you put Ollie Watkins or Duran up front for you, then you become a better team. And if you become a better team, you become a Premier League winning team. So if I'm in charge of a football club and I have the financial capability to do it, why would I try and do something with one arm behind my back? And that's what I don't get about Arsenal. 3 weeks ago, you had a chance of winning the Champions League, the Premier League, the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup. 3 weeks later, you're out the FA Cup, you're heading out the Carabao Cup. The title race could be gone this weekend if you don't beat Man City and Liverpool beat Bournemouth. And you look at it and you go, what could I have done any differently? I think at the end of the season, you have to look at it and you go, what could I do any differently? And I look at Arsenal last season and I think 2 points. 2 points, you lost the title to a juggernaut in Man City. That can happen. But what could you have done this season? And, right, some silly red cards, of course. But if you'd have added a striker to the team you had last year, you think about the tight games where you needed goals. Certainly Everton a few weeks ago, and there's been plenty more. A striker would have given you maybe another 5 points minimum. Some would say maybe another 8 to 10. Another 5 points puts you right on the coattails of Arsenal. It knocks Man United out of the FA Cup when they've got 10 men and you need a goal. So these decisions do cost you. I don't say it for effect. Arsenal with a striker would be much more likely to win a trophy this season. Much, much more. And yet they won't do it. And the market is there. Maybe they don't want to overpay, but you're not overpaying for a right back. You're overpaying for a guy that's going to score you goals, that's going to make a difference. And I just don't get why they won't do it. And I never understand why clubs go, we want to wait till the summer because it's a better market. Because the season won't wait for the summer. It's a new season next year. What if Chelsea do get Duran and then next year they're next year's Liverpool and Liverpool stay and Arsenal drop to third and Man City bounce back and Arsenal are fighting for fourth? You snooze, you lose in football. You can't go, yeah, well, we're in a good position. We'll wait till the summer. I believe you've got to act. I really do. And I don't understand why they don't do it. And it could be something that we look back on in years to come and go, if Arsenal had just done that, they would have won a Premier League title. I think with Duran, it's interesting. I was listening to David Ornstein this morning saying that watch out for Chelsea in the last few days of the window. And they need a striker. Look, Arsenal need a striker. Chelsea need a striker. They need a goalkeeper as well. One difference between Arsenal and Chelsea, and we've seen it, is that they are aggressively ambitious. Maybe a little bit too much. We'll have to see in years to come whether this strategy works. But they're certainly... recent form's not been great, but I think they've pitched themselves into a position where a month ago they could have been in a title race. They're certainly in the race for top four, and I think that's their ambition this year. The weird thing is, I almost feel like Chelsea are doing what Arsenal aren't, and maybe Spurs aren't with centre-backs, and Man United aren't doing with Amorim. I think Chelsea have already shown before, we don't even look at the market and go, is there any opportunities? We look at the market and go, can we aggressively just go and get something that nobody thinks we can do? And we saw that 2 years ago. So if they can get that striker, whether it's Duran or not, why would you wait till the summer? 6 months, he could guarantee you Champions League football. And I think Chelsea look at it in two ways and go, one, a striker's going to make us better now, and two, that striker's going to guarantee us top four, which will bring in 80 million next year. So again, I just don't get why football clubs don't look at it like that as well. There's two elements, isn't there? There's the footballing side. This player's going to make you get win more games and more points. And then there's the financial side, where if you win games and get more points, you will finish higher up the league. You've got more chance of winning trophies and more chances of qualifying for things. And Chelsea do need that Champions League football. So I wouldn't be surprised if Chelsea bring a striker in, because they'll have seen at the weekend they should have beat Man City, and they didn't beat Man City because they didn't take the golden opportunity at 1-0 up. Yeah, the goalkeeper needs to be resolved, but they need a striker. So it's an interesting one. As I said, Man City have already done their stuff, and we've seen how exciting that Mamouche looks, and it improves Man City between now and the end of the season. Gives them a chance of maybe winning the Champions League, which, all right, Man City aren't going to win the league, but they could win the Champions League, and bringing Mamouche in gives... That's the thing for me. It's like some people look at the January window and go, no, there's no value, we'll wait till the summer. And I look at it, and I think some of you look at it and go, well, halfway through the season, it's literally half time. And it's about making some subs. It's about, refreshing things up. And we might be a better team in the second half, and we might win the game. And that's what I see the January transfer window as. But it amazes me how many clubs don't run themselves like that, because financially or whatever. But actually, from a purely footballing point of view, look, I know it's not easy for a Wolves or an Ipswich, but I'd be looking at what player can I bring in that keeps us in the Premier League, because that's financially massive for us. If I'm looking at Chelsea and I'm going, I need a striker to make sure we get top four, because that's financially massive for us. If I'm Man City, I'm thinking we can't win the league, it would take a miracle, but we could still win a trophy, maybe even the Champions League. What can we bring in? If I'm Arsenal, I'm like, especially with the injuries. If I'm Spurs, injuries at the back, they could win the Europa League, which could get them in the Champions League, which is 80 million. Man United, Europa League, get in the Champions League, 80 million. I just don't get those clubs that sit there, and I think fans should be more vocal about it, because actually it can never be a football decision. There are deals you can do, and Chelsea have shown that. And the money that's available, I just don't think clubs want to take a gamble. And football is about gambling. It's about risk. That's what it's always been about. Get your comments in. Let me know your thoughts. And what are your thoughts on your club's activity, by the way? I mean, I said at the start of the window, if you're a Bournemouth or a Forest, maybe you'd be looking at a player, because the dream could be European football. And that's a massive injection of cash for you as well. It works all around, doesn't it? Thanks for watching. Make sure you smash the like and subscribe. I'll speak to you on the next one.